What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. You have your A-Team, the Monday Squad, myself, Alpha Dog Bets. We have JD from Line Movers and Ben from We Beat the Spread. Ben, glad you're on per usual. How are you today, my friend?
Doing good today. Got absolutely wrecked in football yesterday. But you know what? That only means next week can hopefully only be better.
Hell yeah, we will have a much better weekend next week. I definitely feel that. JD, how are you today? Happy Monday and happy first day of college basketball.
Yes, happy first day of college basketball. Today we have a huge slate of games, and yes, cannot wait. And I'm doing great. And actually, just like Nick said, let's go Duke.
Let's put that up there. Nick is here. We appreciate you being here. Duke is back. All the big schools are back, and we're going to be breaking down a ton of college basketball today. But before we do, you guys know that we have to go into our weekend recap. Ben, you briefly told us how you did. I know JD had a big weekend, so we'll wait for him. How was your weekend? I know you said it wasn't great, but Saturday okay?
UCF. I almost said UCF. UFC. I'm already thinking about the college basketball games, but UFC actually went very well for us. We hit the max.
Excellent.
Play. Yeah, we hit both plays on the show. We had a good weekend all around there on Saturday, and then he flipped the page to Sunday. Didn't do so well on NFL yesterday. So it kind of evened out on the weekend for me.
I definitely hear that. I had an okay weekend, better day Saturday than I had Sunday. A couple games that were very close yesterday that could have taken us to a big day. Didn't. But we're back, new season in college basketball, and excited to start winning in the NCAA. JD, I know you had a big Sunday per usual. How was your weekend?
Yeah, man, good. Saturday wasn't necessarily great. That actually Penn State game, guys. That to me, that was just not a good game.
Yep.
Like these teams are just watching them play. They're gonna get beat up. They're actually like offenses, man. They just can't do much. But anyway, yeah, as far as yesterday goes, though, yeah, it was a great day. I know as far as plays, though, we gave out on the show, gave out the Chargers. That was a easy win there.
Hell yeah.
Gave out the Lions. That was a nice easy win there. Gave out the Rams. That was not such an easy win, but it actually was an actual win for us. Then just some extra plays that VIP had. The Ravens on the first half, that actually was a big play for us. That one actually came through. The Bills, they're actually team total over. That was a nice sweat, but that one did come through. The Eagles, they're actually team total over, also hit for us. Even though they went for 2 points every single time, and I actually don't even think they got a single one of them, but
Right.
it's still, of course. So,
Question for you, though. I know you watched that game, as we all did, pretty closely. What do you think about the tush push essentially going out the window? It didn't work twice, and then they started doing different plays on 4th and 3rd and short. What do you think about that?
as far as actually like Kelsey actually not with him not being there, I think that has a lot to actually do with it. But yeah, just like I said, it's just not working. The actual same now, because actually some of those tries, like, they weren't even close.
Not even close.
Like,
It was
really wasn't.
as somebody who's not a big fan of the Eagles, as you know, I'm a Giants fan, but either way, it was nice to finally see them not be able to get that automatically anymore. Hopefully the league has now figured out how to do that, because I'm tired of watching Jalen Hurts get pushed in the end zone on every 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 from the 1 yard line. So to me, I definitely enjoyed seeing that not work a couple times. But fellas, it's about that time to break down our first game of the slate, so we're going to go right into the college basketball slate. As we've been alluding to, first game we're breaking down is going to be the St. Louis Billikens taking on the Santa Clara Broncos. A lot of storylines around the St. Louis Billikens team. They are going to be getting Robbie Avila, the transfer player, out of Indiana State Sycamores. They also now have the Indiana State head coach. So it's a different look for this Billikens team that did have a down year last season. They're going up against Santa Clara. Santa Clara was a good team last season. They're looking to have another strong year yet again this year. We're going to start with you, JD. What do you like in this SLU Santa Clara game to break off our NCAA basketball season?
You know, this is a really good game. I think on the East Coast here, I think it tips off at 3:00.
Yep.
And just how, I mean, this really should be a really good game. I believe this actually is a neutral site game. And what I like about this, or just some things about this game, as far as Santa Clara, They brought back most of like everybody here. As far as their top scores, I believe they brought back 5 of their top 6. So this team, I think, is going to be good to go actually right from the actual jump here. As far as last year, they actually had a really good season. I believe they actually got to 20 wins. They actually beat the Zags. I believe they beat Oregon too. So it was definitely a nice good season for them. Then on the other side, you have the St. Louis team, and once again, I think they're going to be really good. Also, the thing is, they basically have a brand new team.
Yep.
They have a brand new head coach. It's just literally like a brand new team here. And while I do think they are going to be very, very good here, it is the first game of the season, so the model does have them slightly actually favored here. If I was going to pick a side, I would have to go with the Santa Clara side, though, just because I think that they're going to be able to gel and just going to be able to start off hot here. For this game, though, even though the Santa Clara side's how I lean, the actual over, I actually love that. It's at 158.5. The model has this at actually 163. This should be a fast paced and actually like high scoring game. So as far as the side, I don't really show a real edge, but as far as the total, I actually definitely love that.
I'll jump in here second, fellas. I'm all over SLU here. I'll let it out early. It is one of my best bets today. When you look at this roster, it is a combination of a lot of new players, a lot of transfers, but there are a lot of players that did come over from Indiana State. They followed the coach. They did follow Robbie Avila, who was the star of that team last year. This team also has transferred Kobe Johnson from West Virginia. He can flat out score the ball. He is a senior guard who's 6'4", who has had success in the past. Another guy they brought in is Josiah Dotzler, who is coming in from Creighton, who did play a couple big games for them as well. So I do think they have some guys on this Billikens team that just have a little bit more talent than the guys that are on Santa Clara. Give me the Billikens and SLU on the money line. Like I said, it is one of my best bets today. Ben, any action from you?
Yeah, I think Santa Clara is going to be a popular bet today, but I'm going to hop on them as well here. I would definitely lean towards their -1.5. I like them up to 2.5. Just with everything that JD said, I really agree with, especially returning minutes early in the season. That's something that you always see a lot of successful early season bets come from teams that have either all the same starting 5 or at least their top producing scorers from last year, which is exactly what Santa Clara gets, three of their top 4 scorers and their top 3 rebounders. So a lot of their offensive gel is kind of remaining there. And then JD brought up as well, St. Louis obviously going through the coaching change. St. Louis fell way below their expectations last year. And then obviously made the coaching change. And they did bring in Avila, who's going to be good. But something to note there as well is he actually was banged up in the offseason. He had a pretty bad ankle strain, and he just returned to practice this previous week. So he's going to be probably playing, but maybe not 100% and might not play a full 40, especially early in the season. You don't want to probably rush him into the season here in the first game. So I would say that's something to look out for as far as that goes. And he's probably one of their best players. So I definitely lean to Santa Clara here. Not a strong play for me, but I would play them.
Definitely a bunch of different picks here. So guys, got to see how it turns out. Like I said earlier, it is the first day of the season, so we're all still trying to gather a lot of information, a lot of new players on a lot of new teams. The college basketball landscape right now, really all college sports, is a transfer-filled landscape where you just have to really learn the new rosters, learn how these new guys play with each other. So I understand why you guys would like a little bit of consistency early in the year. I just happen to think there's a little more talent, but one of us is going to be right, so we will revisit this tomorrow in tomorrow's recap on the show. Let's move on to the second game that we're covering today, which is going to be Texas A&M Aggies, who are coming in 13th in the nation, taking on UCF in this one. UCF is the home team. They are playing this game in Orlando. So what do we think about this one? Let's go over to you, Ben. A&M is coming in 13th in the nation, but UCF is always a tough team to play at UCF. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, you kind of brought it up. Tough team to play at UCF, and they're getting some points here. I do expect that Texas A&M will be the better team this year overall, but you got to just think here, on the road, laying 4.5 to start the season. This is kind of the time you see some of those crazy games. So I'm actually going to take UCF with the points here at home. They are bringing in Jordan Ivy-Curry and Keyshawn Hall, 2 really big transfers who were really good at scoring in some of those mid-conference teams. Jordan Ivy Curry with UTSA, and then Keyshawn Hall with George Mason. So it's like, yeah, you're bringing in a few new pieces, and I know that kind of just contradicts the thing I said. But UCF, they're with their offense scoring last year, they didn't really lose too many of their pieces, just a lot of bench players. They're bringing back their top scorers from last year, Jalen Sellers and Darius Johnson. So you kind of have a pretty good offense this year. Last year, I liked their defense a lot more, and they went out to address that by bringing in 2 high scorers from those lower conference teams. So I actually like this UCF makeup. I like their offense. You're getting 4.5 here at home. You just got to keep it a close game and hope that they either cover the 4.5 or win outright. So I'm going to take the stab on UCF here. Plus the points, I think they keep this one close.
I feel the same way as you do. It's not an official play for me, but UCF did add Mikey Williams, who, if you don't know who he is, he's one of the biggest Instagram basketball players, who was quite the big prospect coming out of high school. He was a 5-star prospect. He did average 24 points per game in high school. So I do anticipate him to have a bit of a transition here. It may take him a little while to get going, but all reports are saying that he has started out very strong. So I'm going to be also taking UCF. They're going to be at home, like Ben said. They have a lot of continuity with a bunch of guys returning. This team did only add 5 transfer players, which may seem like a lot, but when you see some of these other schools we'll be talking about, they've had upwards of 8 to 9 transfer adds. So they really do have a lot of guys who have played with each other before. Give me UCF plus the 4.5. They should be able to keep this one close. JD, what you got?
This is going to be a squad ride here. As far as my notes, I think Ben actually stole pretty much everything here. Just like you said, Alpha, this actually is going to be a true home game. And then on the other side is actually, as far as this Texas team, last year, I actually bet on them quite a bit. Watched a lot of their games, and they were a frustrating team in the fact that they missed so many open shots, and then free throws. They missed so many free throws. And this team, honestly, compared to last year, they haven't really changed much. So having them first game of the year, it is a road game. You're actually laying this many points. Sometimes they have trouble shooting the ball. And then the free throws, to me, is a big key. When you're trying to cover these actual spreads late in the game, you just have to hit those. And they're a team that I do not trust there. And then as far as actually UCF, as far as overall this year, I think they're going to be an actual underrated team. So going forward, as far as some of their lines, I really think we're actually going to find value on actually them. They're top scorers. They're all back. Just actually like Ben said here, to me, this could definitely be a night one actually upset here. So give me the points and give me the money line on a small little bet there.
There we go. I like it. Well, let's keep it moving, fellas, right along to the next game we have on the slate, which is going to be a game that is at a neutral court. We're going to be breaking down the Texas Longhorns, who are taking on Ohio State Buckeyes in Las Vegas tonight. So this is the start of the Hall of Fame Series tournament in Las Vegas. So neither team is the home team in this matchup. Interesting with the line being only 1.5 for Texas. Currently, I'm 2.5. I apologize. When I do think that this is going to be a pretty close game with Ohio State. I'm not sure how many people remember what Ohio State did last year to make the NCAA tournament, but they had to basically run the table in the Big Ten. They had to make a deep Big Ten tournament run, which they did. I believe they went all the way to the finals. This team also added a lot of big name guys and big pieces from the transfer portal to their team. They added Sean Stewart from Duke. They added Micah Parrish from San Diego State. They added Quez Glover from Kansas State. They also added one player from Kentucky. They added Aaron Bradshaw, the star center, who's 7'1". He's going to be a big addition for them, as well as they got Michi Johnson, who was the best player on South Carolina last year. So this Ohio State team did a fantastic job in the transfer portal. This is a team where I spoke about earlier, and I said we may be seeing a couple teams later that had a ton of transfers. This Ohio State team is a team that had a ton of transfers, but they added a lot of guys that have had some big moments. They lost a couple guys as well, such as Zed Key. He went to Dayton. He was a big player for them last year, but with the guys they brought in, they really did very well in the transfer portal, and I think this team is going to be even better than how they were last year. I'm taking Ohio State on the money line. Yet again, not my favorite play, but I do think Ohio State is going to surprise a lot of teams this year, similar to how they did last year. So give me Ohio State. I love the additions that they made in the offseason. JD, what do you like?
Yeah, man. Just actually like you just said, Ohio State, they've done really good here. They've actually put together a very solid team. They have a very good bench too. They have a very deep bench.
They're deep, absolutely.
Yes. So this like roster is going to be very good. And as far as Texas on the other side, they actually did the same thing. They actually did lose actually quite a few guys, but they've also brought in a lot of good pieces here. I'm actually going to keep this one short. This should be a really good game here. The model has this Texas at actually -2.5, which I believe is right where the line is now. The line was at I believe a -3. It's starting to come back now. If it keeps coming down the Texas side, I might jump in there. But this is probably going to be a game where actually like I just watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good game, and we've been saying it this whole show. In college landscape right now, you really must learn all the new additions, subtractions, and how these teams are going to play with each other. I mean, you take a look at a team like Rutgers that doesn't play today when they added two of the best players in the nation, the number 2 recruit, the number 3 recruit, but they have no center on the roster. So a lot of people are picking them to have a monster year, but we just don't know how this team is going to do until you see how these new additions play out. And it's pretty much across the board all the same with every single team. The way the transfers have taken over college basketball has changed a lot of ways that I personally cap in the beginning of the year. I'm assuming you guys feel the same way with that as well. Ben, what do you like?
Oh, man. Yeah, you brought up a lot of turnover for Ohio State. How about Texas, who loses Max Abmas, their leading scorer, Dylan Dessou, who is second in their scoring department, Tyrese Hunter. Like, pretty much their entire offensive identity is just gone. But then they got very busy. Rodney Terry got very busy this offseason, bringing in Jordan Pope from Oregon State and Traymon Mark, Arthur Kluma, like big names from like high-level schools. We're not talking about guys from these lower conference teams. Like, he went out and got some big names. So, I mean, they're not messing around. Texas had a lot of turnover, but, Terry was on top of it, on top of bringing in Trey Johnson, who was actually ranked number 5 in the ESPN Top 100 coming into this season. So he's going to be a freshman to look out for. I expect big things from him. So you talk about the makeup of this team, and actually, sure, they brought in a lot of offensive pieces, but I love their defense. Like, I expect Texas to have a top 10 defense this year. I do think they'll be competing for the Big 12 title at the end of the year. It's just one of those things where you have two teams with a ton of turnover. You already brought up all the Ohio State guys that departed and everything. On top of that, Jamison Battle, who's not with the team anymore, he was scoring 15 points per game last year. So just from a turnover standpoint, I would say they're pretty even. They both lost a lot of big pieces. But Texas, to me, just has a little bit of a better roster. And yeah, this is, a neutral court game, but I just think Texas is kind of the overall better team just from a name standpoint. Now, it's not a strong play for me. I'm actually not going to be betting this one. But just for the show's sake, I'm going to say I think Texas wins. Just because from a pure roster standpoint, matchup to matchup, I think that Texas just has the better makeup. And then also bringing in the more impressive freshman and Trey Johnson.
So it's no official play officially from you.
No official play for me, but I do think Texas.
I get to do the thing. That's all. The only reason I wanted to know is because we get to put on the screen sometimes the best play you can make is no play on the game, and I respect that this early in the college basketball season. Let's keep it moving, fellas, to the last game we're going to be breaking down today in college basketball, which is going to be the 8th-ranked Baylor Bears taking on the 6th-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs. This one is in Spokane, Washington, so this will be a home game for Gonzaga. We have to take a look at how these two teams are doing coming into this year, and Baylor had some absolutely massive additions via the transfer portal, which kind of seems like a theme of this show, but that's how we're trying to figure out who these teams really are by pulling some of the transfers they had and trying to assume how this team will be. They brought in Roach from Duke. Jeremy Roach was fantastic at Duke. This is going to be his 5th year, and he averaged 14 points per game and 3.3 assists throughout his career so far. He has started 108 games in his career at Duke over the last 4 seasons. He's an absolutely massive add. They also added Omir. Omir averaged 15.5 points per game and 11.2 rebounds over 120 games over the last 4 seasons. 2 of those years were with Arkansas State, so he was able to inflate his stats a little bit. But the last 2 were at Miami, where he did significantly better and was a Final 4 player. Guys, what do we think about Baylor's additions, and do you think they're going to be good this year? I'll let it out early. I'm all over Baylor in this spot. I know the game is at Gonzaga, but this is a typical game that we're going to see Gonzaga play, early Gonzaga basketball, and I really think Baylor has the talent to take it to them this early in the year. This is going to be an interesting year from Gonzaga. They're going to have the hardest schedule we've ever seen Gonzaga have with the new conference alignment. We'll start with Ben. What do you think about this game?
So, yeah, Baylor obviously lost a few big pieces, but you brought it up. Like, they brought in maybe arguably
Aces.
the most talented transfer portal roster with Ormier and Jeremy Roach. Just from an offensive standpoint, that's going to be really impressive. And they already kept some of their good defensive guys. Like, yeah, they lost Jacoby Walter and Ray J. Dennis, but they weren't two of their greatest defenders to begin with. So as far as defense goes, I really like Baylor, especially because you have 3 incoming freshmen who are all ranked in the top 50 in ESPN top 100. You have Edgecombe, Wright III, and Asamoah. Like, they're stacked. They are, especially from a freshman standpoint. However, what did I just say? You're bringing in 3 freshmen. You're bringing in 2 offensive guys who came from 2 different teams. And then you have a few returning starters. Most of them are bench players. But you're kind of throwing a whole melting pot of a lot of good freshmen who haven't played a college basketball game yet. And then 2 guys who aren't on the same team who kind of were the guys at their school, now kind of trying to all mesh into one big melting pot. Meanwhile, Gonzaga is returning 4 of their 5 starters and their top 3 scorers. So you got to think, at least my play in this game is going to be Gonzaga first half -3. I do think that just having that experience with all those guys returning in the first half of this game, Baylor is going to take at least one half to figure out this new melting pot of a team, because they, on paper, will have a good year and they're higher ranked and everything, and they're going to have a very good team. But I got to think it's going to take more than half for these guys to figure it out, just with everything coming together here. So give me Gonzaga in the first half, -3.
I respect it. JD, what you got?
Man, it looks like y'all are both on actually different sides here.
All day, it seems like, actually.
Right. What I was going to say here is, this Zags team last year, they didn't have the year that they wanted to actually have. This year, everybody needs to watch out. The Zags team they are going to have that actual year. This actual offense is going to put up points. Matter of fact, I will go ahead and tell everybody, just let it out of the bag. Not in this game versus Baylor, but as far as Gonzaga team total overs, I am definitely going to try to target those, whether that be a first half or full game. But that is something that I will be trying to actually bet into. Gonzaga is where I wanted to play this game, but that was at -3.5, and that number's gone now.
Oh yeah.
I'm seeing this up to 6.5 now, in actually some spots, and that brings me to something where the number means literally everything, and that's what in sports betting, I don't know. I think that sometimes gets lost. Everybody, especially in this space, is just trying to just make sure they have the winning side. I mean, of course you're trying to have the winning side, but no matter what, the number matters, and to where the Zags was where I was wanting to bet, though, with this number keep going up, then the Baylor side is going to have to be where I have to play, though. We're not quite there yet, but we are very close.
What's the number you're looking for? Is it 7.5, 8, and then you're going to hammer it?
If I can get a 7, I am definitely in. 6.5, I actually still might be there. So I'm actually after the show, I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more here. But yeah, actually this should be another good game, but actually, just like Ben said, with everything that actually Baylor has done here with the roster, I could definitely see it taking an actual half or so, like actually Ben said, to get everything really going. And I mean, yeah, this should be another really good game.
We're going to learn a lot today. We're going to learn a lot. It's not going to be the end all be all with the knowledge that you get today, but you will see if a lot of these teams are able to gel quickly. That's something you can pretty much see right away, how you can tell if they have it together, they know the spacing, if they're moving well defensively as a unit, that it's not going to take a lot of time for them to really crisp up and look really good. But if they're having trouble spacing, if they're getting burned defensively, if they're not able to find an open shooter on the offensive side, that may be a team that we look at, even if it's a team like Baylor that really starts out slow, but they're not able to space well, might be a team you fade in the near week. So like I said, we are going to learn a lot in the next couple days about a lot of teams that will help kind of mold us to our betting for the season. Let's keep it moving, fellas, to the last game we're going to be going over today, and it is going to be the Monday Night Football game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Bucs are coming in 4-4. They're 2-1 on the road. Kansas City's coming in 7-0. They are 3-0 at home. Total, a little low at 45.5. So by me saying that, you could probably guess where I'm going to go in this game. But we'll start with JD. What do you like in this game?
When I just looked at this game, I just wanted to bet the Bucks or either actually bet the over so bad. Like I just saw these actual lines and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to hammer like actually one of these plays. But as far as the Bucks, as far as who's going to be catching the passes for them tonight, they're actually down. They're actually top two guys here. They're going to have to throw though. Because the Chiefs, I just don't – the way the Chiefs' defense is, I don't see the Bucs being able to run, even though they have whatever the Bucs are doing. They have three guys that they basically have actually going back there in the backfield now. I still just don't think that's going to work. So then I started, as far as on the Chiefs side, I started to kind of look at that, and the Chiefs should be able to move the ball and do whatever they want to do. They really should. And that has me thinking that as far as an actual game script goes, that in the second half, they could be just trying to take their time and just trying to kill clock and just trying to end this game quick. So I was looking at their Chiefs. I was actually looking at their team total over. But because of that, I'm going to stick with them in the first half, just to score points. So give me the Chiefs first half team total over. You can get a 13.5.
I like that. I'm taking the full game over. I know it's a little scary with the way how injured this Bucs offense has been. But you take a look at the depth chart. They've had guys that have stepped up in the receiving room. Jalen McMillan has done a good job. Sterling Shepard somehow looks like he's 5 years younger. Somebody who's a Giants fan and has watched him be injured every week for the last, 14 years. It's a little shocking to see him playing as much as he has, but he has been doing very well. Trey Palmer has done a good job as well. And then there's tight end Cade Otton. Cade Otton's been a beast. And we all saw last week, this is the same receiving room that they have this week compared to last week. And last week, they were still able to put up 26 points against a stingy Atlanta defense. So I do think we will see Tampa be able to get a couple touchdowns in this game, as well as we should see Patrick Mahomes throw an interception tonight, which will help the Bucs get a score as well. I think this one's going to have a ton of points. Guys, when you take a look at Mahomes' numbers, would anybody guess that he has more interceptions than touchdowns on the year? Probably not. I mean, you guys know that because you're in the industry and do this. But most people, if you ask an average NFL fan how Patrick Mahomes' numbers are this year, they probably wouldn't be able to tell you that he has 8 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. It's just the type of year that he has had. So I do think the Bucs will get some points off at least one turnover. They should offensively be able to get 1 to 2 more touchdowns as well. And the Chiefs will get theirs. We all know the Chiefs will score theirs as well. So give me the over 45.5. I'll let it out early. It is a best bet for me. Let's see points in this game. Ben, what you got?
Yeah, I'm absolutely dumbfounded by this certain line I found out there. And it's not on a side. It's not on the total. It's on a player prop, and it's on Rachaad White. He's sitting – now, the market's actually kind of all over on him right now. I see him at 23.5. I see him at 26.5. The number I got, and I already bet, is 24.5 receiving yards. Now, Bucky Irving tonight, he's been a very standout guy for them. Like, he's having a great season. He's questionable tonight with a toe injury. Now, he's expected to play. He's not expected to miss, but he's still banged up. And even to that point, Bucky Irving has looked more impressive, I'd say, on the ground than in the air. Rachaad White's been their main receiving back guy. So even if he was completely healthy playing this game, this is a line I'd still love because Rachaad White, he had 71 receiving yards 2 games ago. He had 38 last game. He's hit this line in 4 of his 7 games this year. This is a line he's already hitting, let alone the fact that we're getting the Bucs, who are going to be very big underdogs tonight, or who already are very big underdogs tonight, but I was going to say should be trailing in this game. They're going to be forced into passing situations, especially when you consider that the Chiefs, defensively, they are built to give up yards to tight ends and running backs because they are second in the NFL in total rush yards per attempt. They are number 1 in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per attempt to running backs. So they shut down the run game. Their secondary is really good. They give up the least yards to wide receivers per game. And then you have the Bucs who are already down Chris Godwin and Mike Evans in this game. The next biggest receiver is Cade Otton. After that, the next leading receiver between the two injured guys and Cade Otton is Rachaad White. He's their fourth leading receiver. He's their second leading healthy receiver, and he's their running back. So I'm absolutely astounded that this line is at 24.5. Still, I think that if you guys can get this anywhere up to, I'd take it up to 30, to be honest with you. I think that this is going to be a heavy game script to get Rachaad White going because their receivers aren't healthy. The Chiefs play well against receivers. The running game's not going to be there for Bucky Irving, who's already kind of banged up. Rachaad White's the only guy left. Give me his 24.5.
I like that because they are going to be doing a ton of screens, and 24.5 is a line that he can literally get on one play. If he gets a big hole, he can get a 25-yard play, and you can cash that. So I absolutely love that. JD, while we're talking about some props, any props you like in this game?
You know what? I didn't have anything, but I've been looking at some touchdown scorers here, just looking at some numbers here, and a couple pop out to me. You can get a Cade Otton touchdown at plus 245. And with this game, and actually with who the Bucs have out there, I just think this number's off.
What do you think about 2+? He scored 2 last week. Same lineup. He was able to get 2 last week. That's plus 2,200.
Sure. I mean,
You can get one, you can get 2.
right. Then on the Chiefs side, normally don't play him for a touchdown, at least this season, but give me a Travis Kelce actually like touchdown here. Looks like you can get a plus 125. And I think that value is good. Like I said, I think the Chiefs are definitely going to put up points. And I can definitely see him getting one.
I like that. And while I'm quickly looking at the touchdown market here as well, I love that Cade Otton one. I will be on a bunch of different 2-touchdown parlay props because you guys know I like to have a little fun with some of those. But when you take a look at how these Bucs receivers are priced, if you think Baker Mayfield's going to throw at least 1 touchdown, Cade Otton's the cheapest guy at plus 240. If you think it's Rachaad White, you can get it at plus 250. If you think it's Jalen McMillan, you can get it at plus 300. If you think it's Trey Palmer, plus 350. Sterling Shepard, plus 350. So all the receivers tonight have pretty decent value on the Bucs if you think they're able to throw a couple touchdowns. So make sure you guys take a look at that list if you're into some anytime touchdown betting. I know all 3 of us are into anytime touchdown betting. So if you are, take a look because there's a ton of value, I think, on the board. Also, guys, that's a great segue to go into a great promo that we currently have with MoneyBall Metrics. Guys, MoneyBall Metrics currently has a promotion for college basketball bonanza. Celebrate college basketball starting with 50% off our all-access package. You can see the stats on the screen. It's the best community, the best place to find your bets, and the best place to be is the MoneyBall Metrics Discord. So make sure you guys jump in there. I'm sure JD and a bunch of the other guys are going to be dropping a ton of anytime touchdown parlays in there. The chat has their own chat parlays, so get in there. Huge discounts with MoneyBall Metrics. Make sure you DM MoneyBall Metrics to get the 50% off promo code. It may be pinned on the Twitter as well, so make sure you guys take a look. You'll be able to get in on the huge discount. Fellas, it's about...
Well, I was just going to very quickly bring up, while you were going over that college basketball promo, I saw Joe type, how do y'all feel about Mahomes' interception plus money? Is it really plus money? Because
let me take a look.
He literally has
every game
interception in every single game this year.
Let me take a look.
Which is
Patrick Mahomes to throw an interception is plus 100.
That's interesting. He literally has a pick in every single game this year. I mean, you got to think that's probably going to regress a little bit. So maybe it's a little scary tonight because I don't know how much they're going to be throwing. Like they might just rely on Kareem Hunt and Piron here. I don't know, but it is interesting that he's literally thrown a pick every single game. He's still plus money.
Yeah, I said it in my breakdown that I think that we will get a Patrick Mahomes interception that will lead to Bucs points. One of the reasons I'm on the over tonight. So yes, Joe, I do think he will throw a pick in this game. JD, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely just play that. But one other thing, Baker Mayfield, like I said, he's going to have to pass the ball a lot tonight. As far as passing attempts, do we have a line on that? I'm trying to pull one up right now.
Let me take a look.
I mean, that has
passing attempts.
That has to be in the high 30s.
34.5 minus 1 for me.
I would definitely go over that.
Yeah,
I think
you think so?
I think he's going to be in the high 30s here. He may even reach that 40 mark here.
He could. He very well could.
So Bucky Irving isn't 100%. I love that because he's kind of their main guy. Like for all the passing downs, I expect Rashad White to be out there, and it seems like they love the screen game more with him than just running him down the middle. So,
True that. Well, fellas, you about ready to get into our best bets of the day? We are going to start with Ben. Ben, do you have one? Do you have two? Do you have three? Do you have 198? Do you have one on every college basketball game today? What do you got?
I don't, but I do have, of course, I went through that whole thing on Rashad White. Of course, I'm taking him over 24.5 receiving yards as my first best bet. And then I have two college basketball ones. Gonzaga first half -3. I love that one. I really think that they're going to come out the gates early. Baylor's going to take a minute with all those new pieces and those three new freshmen. And the last one in the game we didn't cover, Alpha's favorite thing, Iowa State.
Love it.
-45.5 points. I'm taking it. Mississippi Valley State is literally the worst team in the country. They would probably be beat by most Division II or Division III teams. Iowa State has a top 5 defense in the nation. We might see them in the Final Four at the end of the year. They're going to compete in the Big 12. They're one of the best defenses in the country, and they're going up against a team that many times last year struggled to even score 40 points, which means I think Mississippi Valley State's going to score under 40. I think Iowa State is more than capable of putting up 100 with their new look offense we saw last year. They actually got into the 90s in some games. That was their big drawback from 2-3 seasons ago with Otzelberger. So with their offense kind of connecting, I think that they can absolutely blow out what might literally be the worst team in Division I basketball. Iowa State -45.5. I stand by that. They're winning by 50.
Ben, there's 1,000 people here. You just gave 1,000 people
I did.
a -45.5 on opening day. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? Okay.
Come back to me when Iowa State wins this game by 55 tonight.
If you lose, you have to cluck for a whole episode by yourself, and we're talking nothing else. If you lose a 45.5 on opening day, oh, I cannot wait. Guys, watch this game today because it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun, depending on what happens in this one. Yeah. I'm going to go into my best bets next. That was absolutely crazy, Ben, but I hope you hit it. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to give you so much shit if this doesn't hit, but I'm going to watch it, and I hope you get it.
45
Yeah.
underdog.
If they win outright, you have to cluck for 3 weeks straight. I don't know what else to say. Guys, I'm going to go into my best bets. I am taking St. Louis on the money line in basketball. That game tips off in just over 2.5 hours. And my second and final best bet is going to be the over in the Monday Night Football game at 45.5. JD, any -900 you got tonight for me?
No, I think I'm going to have to pass on actually those tonight. Let's go with 3 best bets for the show. Let's go back to that first game we talked about. Let's take the St. Louis and Santa Clara game. Let's take that game over. That's at 158.5. Then let's go to that the Texas A&M versus UCF game. Love the points here. Give me UCF +4.5. Give me as far as the money line there, give me a small play on that. And then for the Monday Night Football game, love the Chiefs to get out to try like a fast start here. Give me Chiefs first half team total over 13.5.
There we go. Let me throw up the graphic. Guys, take your phones out, screenshot, write them down. You can see all of our best bets for the day. Ben is on Iowa State -900, Gonzaga first half -3, and Rashad White over 24.5. I am on the Bucks Chiefs over 45.5, and St. Louis University. We might as well just call him SLU. Everyone calls him SLU if you're in the know. So SLU, money line there, and JD is on SLU, Santa Clara over 158.5. University of Central Florida, that's UCF for those who do not know, +4.5. And Chiefs first half team total over 13.5. Guys, it's been another fantastic show. It is college basketball opening day. We have games that have already tipped off, so I hope everyone enjoys a fun-filled afternoon of basketball going into a great Monday Night Football game. We appreciate every single person who is tuned in, and we hope we're going to deliver a massive night for all of you guys. JD, say goodbye to the people.
Yep, today is a great day. Let's get some wins, and just like we always say, let's fucking win.
Let's fucking win. Ben, smile. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time. I made that backwards. Who cares? We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.